Had some food in between. And welcome, my name's Amy Braziller, and this is actually the start of our 5th year doing this. So when I thought about that, I'm like, wow, 5 years. So we have 4 readers, a range of poetry and some prose. So I'd like to introduce our first reader to you. Crisosto Apache is a Mescalero, Chiricahua Apache, and Navajo from New Mexico. He earned his MFA from the Institute of American Indian Arts. Some of Crisosto's work is published in Black Renaissance Noire, Denver Quarterly, and it was a Pushcart Prize nominee. Hawaii Review, Commonplace, Tending the Fire by Christopher Felver, an American Indian Culture and Research Journal. His other work includes Native LGBTQI, Two-Spirit Advocacy, board membership, and online poetry editorials. Crisosto has book reviews for the Native American anthology, Visit Teepee Town, published by Coffee House Press in 1999. And he's published in the Poetry Project publication, issue 175, June 1999. And I also want to thank the library for hosting this and Julia for coordinating it. So let's give it up for Crisosto.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm really glad to have this opportunity to read today. Thank you to the library, Red Rocks. I also would like to dedicate this reading that I'm going to do to Native American Heritage Month and also for more awareness of Native American identity. What I'm going to read for you tonight is my 3rd manuscript called Swift Cinder. The idea behind it is sort of this idea of a collision. And it's sort of based on an accident that my brother was involved with, and I sort of took that idea and ran with it. And the purpose behind it is to sort of push myself to write a book-length poem. So this is just an excerpt. And before I say that, my collection, Genesis Redacted, will be released in February of 2018. All right, here we go. Sulfur, striking, sulfur, strikes, sulfur, struck. A lighter light of lit. Coomp, spark. Coomp, ignite. Coomp, fuel. Coomp, flame. Coomp, combustion. Coomp, blast. Lanient blast, blasting. Latent blast, blasted, blasting. Steadfast. From fire, from ignition. Buckshot splintering air. Cracking space. Ricochets off tree bark, tree limbs. Scattering brush, climbing. High up into Bear Canyon, into the mouth. Wednesday, April 9th, 2014, roughly around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This specific moment in time, no different than the odious Big Bang, setting a single course, a determinate event, billions of years in the making. First refractive light against stars, lifting split light against lit faces, bringing this moment fastidiously forward toward a series of collisions. Envelopment of toiling flame, engulfing the combustion, gas, subatomic particles, orbit out of control, nucleus circles, expansion girds into guardrails, flying fenders in swift swirls, oil sludge, petroleum, plastic, and metal, the gestalt sending his ghost into nearby thickets. Ash flakes fall softly. Ash flakes fall in soft particles. Ash release soft particles. Ash releases all particles, leaving a gold vacuum of space. There, Kuyu, Kuyu, there, kuyu, and there. Indiscriminate objects strewn, forming dashboard, quick buckshot echoing long, Highway 70, collision translates probability, cohesion of metallic abrasion of beauty. Upon impact, birds scatter, birds cease, a resounding buckshot blast, ricochets again off a tree bark, darting up the canyon, again, 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 and again. Abbreviate, oblique, asymptote, never meeting its predetermined coordination, terminus, endpoint, destination, mathematical formula, a formulaic mathematical formula, approaches a straight line, a given course of action, curving the only variable, bow of equation, eminent infinity, a high rate of speed. This straight line continues, approaching, never supposing to meet its camber. As significant the value of asymptote, we do not fall together from ash to ashes, not with fallen flesh, but to fall with flesh. Asymptotic straight line, finale skidding, perpetual motion, and a still motion, in a slow motion still, slow motion still, proceeding slow still, motionless months. A long vowel continuation, constant yearning of the letter O, late into dispersing night, dispersing into the blank whispers of air. Absolve this swift cinder. Past midnight and into the following night, eardrums ring over silence, extending artery encumbers, saintly candles burn their somber sway. Petrol sings sense of sanctifying beeswax, odorous, incumbent. Oh, how those flames flicker, leaning shadows, casting against obscuring walls. Warp shapes dance, burns, consummate along minuscule granular surface. That chosen scuttle-cupped light, as aspirate flux, silence and ephemeris, veils cascade upon tiny pirouette flares. Quote, fragments, only fragments, I sink in the snow, shovel in the earth, in the road, in the grass, and the mountains, unquote. Thomas Solomon. Second section, slant shoulder impact. His arm extends a patient, persistent throw as flat river stone scathed surface, tapping flight across calm water and mirror light, as though each gripping rock inside his grasp grows tight. Muscles jolt in slow motion, gather in a slither. Docile stone glides through the sideways slant. Silence from a young wave toward moments come hither. To a specific moment with rippling water collides. Wait. Oh, wait. Particulates scatter atop laden fuel, mistaken for water. Can anyone mistake a plausible, death-defying scenario? To sever umbilical as dual, wake from dream, a wish I cannot want, to erase invisible strains of scattering car parts. Had he not driven so opposite, which hastened his departure to such a thriving continent? Inside this cricket house, into night, our body lies awake. Cricket songs assemble against a judder of paper wings. When moth wings dust disperse, light vibrations procures, a lure in a soaring death flight, twirling center light, ambient background wavers, absent. Into night, our body lingers, awake, atop flagstone, cricket songs assemble, scratching their paper wings and chirping into desert clefts. We both gather in our beds to stay, to rub, some hiss, some striking sparingly, or first gathers in masses. Sand covers arid slabs, water is all around, and slithers as old sediment. A crisscross tinder fist marks intersections. White lines pass back and forth, through and over. Then white bear comes charging, breaking through brush and thicket, musters old dirt into heaves of glass, sprays sinews inside wrist and joints, divulges over torrid air masses. Empty these demarcate calculations. 7.73 feet, 1980. Relatives afar in skeletal trailer houses can see our saunter. His small hands clench mine. There was no rainfall. Suckling the half-empty bottle of apple juice over rocks and sand, the hum of power lines tremble, leading us across into the dusty land of Canaan. 4.83 feet, 1988. Lights flicker at a gas station in Rio Puerco. Night insects swirl at 8mm film trails, erect into makeshift glass ice case. A polar bear watches over us. From a distance, they enter a bar. Late into the evening, a few hundred yards away, our eyes leave the stare of the white bear who oscillates loudly over the building. 8.89 feet, 1996. A few drinks in a condo just off a roadway, just off the reservation, into the mountains. Longer into docile night we drank, just the two of us. Turmoil courses through our veins, a rage inside rivers, a slippage of rock and boulders, a reeve of engine, a scale of headlamps, a glare of vague human lumbers in a driveway. We could never explain the splay of web oxidizing the windshield. 4.97 feet, 2004. Early morning, a crack through trees, wake a lingering ghost. It usurps into misty tree line. Silent, we raise from our bed. A quarter mile down the road, firefighters pry his body. A brisk morning calls the ghostly fingers to pinch his aorta. His body suspends, a mangled wreck, inanimate toward Albuquerque. 4.5 feet, 2012. He returns after 20 years in a black Chrysler 300. It had deep window tints, a shiny row of crow eyes. He drives the hell out of that car. 4.13 feet, 2014. One long tire skid mark burns tar, scorches earth, metal mesh with polymer, blood vaporize. No amount of liquid can extinguish the slow scald. But through boughs, a forest is still a forest, just as a door is still a door, through a forest, exists and enters this child. I think that's all the time I have. Thank you.